Hi guys, Ange here. Thanks for joining me and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to recap on the eyeshadow palettes that I have done recently, doing eyeshadow get ready with me's using all of my warm eyeshadow palettes. I will leave links up here in the information bar as well as links below to all of those get ready with me's using these eyeshadow palettes. But in this video I just want to compare them, tell you my thoughts. Some of them have surprised me a little bit because one of the palettes I was actually going to move on and I have changed my mind. So at the beginning of planning these videos, I was going to call it my warm palettes, yep, nah, maybe, because I thought I was going to move some on and keep some. But I've surprised myself with using these over the past several weeks. I've used them more than just in the Get Ready With Me's. I've been playing with them and enjoying them, so I can give you a solid thought on what I think of these palettes. Before we get into that, guys, I would just like to ask, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button down below. I'd love to see you back. I upload 2 videos a week and I would really appreciate seeing you back again. And to all the people that are coming back to watch another video of mine, thank you so much. I really do truly appreciate it. So if you'd like to know my thoughts on the eyeshadow palettes that I have been showing you recently, please keep watching. Now the first palette that started me off on this journey, because I just enjoyed playing with this palette, was the Huda Beauty Coral Obsessions palette. Now in the Get Ready With Me's that I have done, I've tried to stick to just using the palette itself in the Get Ready With Me, but these all play really nicely all together and mixing and matching them. They really do. They really do. So my Get Ready With Me's specifically just utilized the palettes that I'm showing you, but you can use them all together if you wanted to create even more diverse makeup looks. The Huda Beauty Coral Obsessions, I absolutely love this palette. I love all of the Obsession palettes. I love the size. They're great for travel. They come with a mixture of mattes and shimmers. I really enjoy the quality of these powders. I enjoy how they blend. I like the pigmentation. In the little palettes, I think they're fantastic. I also really love my Desert Dusk palette and the Rose Gold Remastered palette. I just don't find it as great a quality as these little palettes or the Desert Dusk palette. But I do still like the palette. I'm still going to hold on to the palette because I like the colours that are in there, but I just don't think the quality of the blendability, etc. in that palette are as good as these little palettes here. So I highly recommend these. I think they're great. The next palette that I went in and used was the ColourPop Yes Please palette. Now this has a mixture of mattes and shimmers. You could say were quite similar, but I still get different looks from these palettes. Now this is the palette that surprised me. When I first used it, I didn't like how punchy some of the colours were in it, and I thought I would probably pass it on and get rid of it. But the more I've played with it, I can actually get quite a few different looks from this palette. I like the fact that there are some darker shades in here to tone it down, to blend it out, whereas in the Coral Obsessions it's all totally warm. Having this dark colour in here means you can really tone it down or pull back on the warmth to the shadows that are in here. Love this canary yellow in here, and the shimmers are really good. So for the price of this palette, which is around, I have to confirm, I'll leave it, but it's either 12 or 16 US dollars. if you are wanting a warm palette, I think this is great. I bought this instead of opting for the $129 Natasha Denona Sunset palette. I definitely don't need that with the collection of warm palettes that I have been collecting. And even though I thought I was going to pass this palette on, I'm not. I'm going to keep it. It plays so nicely with all my other warm palettes that it does have a place in my collection. The next palette that I went on to show you was my Viseart number 10 Warm Matte palette. I love my Viseart palette. I have this one and I have the Neutral Mattes palette. I actually find I use this one more. I don't know what it is, but for me they are still neutral. Yes, they are warm, but there's still a lot of, I say, erring on the neutral side, that I do use it a little bit more than my Neutral Mattes. Not unhappy that I have this, but I do tend to use this more. I can get more of a very neutral warm look with this palette as opposed to the punchiness of these two. So if I'm wanting to wear a warm eye look to work, this would be the palette that I would reach for. I love using this palette in conjunction with especially the Coral Obsessions, once again just to tone down the punchiness of the coral colours in there. These two work fabulously together, as I'll show you in a pic here of where I utilise those two palettes together. Then the next palette that I went on to show you was the Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat palette. I don't have the large Naked Heat palette. It's not on my wish list at the moment, but you never know. If it was ever on special, maybe I would, because in that you do get a selection of shimmer shades in there as well. When I did compare the two, I felt that the colours that I would use are in this palette, and I could reach for other palettes if I wanted shimmers. Now if I'm wanting to incorporate warm shimmers with that all matte palette, I can go to my ColourPop and my Huda Beauty palette. So that's saying for both of these matte colours, if I wanted to add a pop of shimmer, I have these to go to. Also in my Get Ready With Me with this palette, I did utilise a little bit of a highlighter, and I used my Champagne Pop highlighter just as a pop in the centre of the eye with this palette as well. So very versatile palettes. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes at the moment, and it just gives me a nice warm smoky brown eye look. I really enjoy it. I'm not normally a smoky eye type of girl. I usually just do the outer and have warmth, and have lighter colours on my lid or in the inner portion of my eyes, but this I like using all over my lid and creating a smoky look, and it's not something I do very often. Now just a token palette that I do want to throw in here, and I will leave a link here because I filmed this and uploaded it a wee while ago before I decided to do this warm palettes journey, is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. Now this isn't as orangey and as warm as these other palettes, but it does have a warmth to it. They are all mattes, so I thought I would just mention this palette whilst I was talking about my warm palettes. It's a little bit different to the others, but I will leave a link to the video for this as well. My final conclusion with these palettes, and I have played plenty with them because I thought I didn't need all of these warm palettes, and that maybe I would have a declutter of at least one, maybe two. But in playing with them, I'm keeping them all. I feel I can get a different enough look from all and each of these individual palettes and combined together that they still have a special place in my eyeshadow collection. Now, to really throw a spanner in the works, I have of course this Mega Beauty here, which has 96 of my single shadows, and these are a mixture of MAC, Makeup Geek and Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I have warm shades in here too, so I could definitely make up a little Travel Z palette. I have a nice little compact where I can fit 9 shadows, and I could definitely pick out 9 shadows easily with all my warm tones and out of my singles as well. So not something that I've done as part of this discovery or experiment with all of my warm eyeshadow palettes, but I've had fun playing with them. I'm really enjoying the warmth of these palettes. I think I'm enjoying it so much recently because it has been quite cold here. We're in our winter in New Zealand, and I'm just enjoying the warmth of the makeup looks that I've been able to create with those palettes. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of the warm palettes that I have in my collection. If you have any comments, I'd be pleased to hear them down below. Are there any warm palettes that you have? Do you have the Natasha Denona Sunset palette? I was very tempted for a very long time to get that, but I'm really not unhappy that I opted for the ColourPop Yes Please palette instead. Thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate you tuning into my video. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you would click the subscribe button. I really would love to see you back. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. See you later, guys. Bye.